Okay, so good morning, everyone. We'll have another seminar today on the Open Canada data related to COVID vaccine efficacy and safety. So we'll be actually streaming it both on Zoom and Facebook. Let me review the portals which you may find useful. The main portal is ivim.ca, and from here you will be able to find applications which we've built with Collect Death Track application, spreadsheet, dashboard, and then some other applications which are shown right here. So Pfizer Documents Abstractor, for example. Okay. So let's review quickly the results of the latest statistics from Public Health Agency of Canada data. It is published right here. It's the percentage of fully vaccinated among cases. That's the table number 2 from their page, linked right here. And if you click here, you will end up on this page. Okay, we'll open it in a new tab. Okay, so we have our main 2 documents are already opened. One is called COVID Daily Epidemiology Update, and it has been updated, I see, today. And it includes the section on cases following vaccination, which we'll be looking at, and also it includes section on severe illnesses and the outcomes by age. So these are 2 main sections which we are looking at. Now, the other document is called Vaccination Effects, Side Effects Following Vaccination. And you will find it again from the links which are provided here. Okay, so I'm just opening all the windows on the screen, and we'll just go one by one and review the latest results. What do we have here? We have here reported side effects, bi-weekly report. We have epidemiology update, and also we have archived report. Because one of the things which I would like to do, would like to compare the results which have been published in January, and we'll compare them to those results which are published now. Okay, so the stage is set, and we could now discuss the results. Now, also I'll be watching the chat window, so please, if there are any questions, if there are any comments, just chat it both on Facebook group and on Zoom. So again, today we're having 2 streams at the same time. Okay. All right. So remember, we suggested last time that for this week, what we would like to talk about in our weekly seminar is predicting the future, looking to the historical data so that we better understand what will happen in the future. And this is called prediction. And this is a very popular science, predicting some variables or some metrics from historical data. And this is what we'll be doing today. We'll be making predictions using machine learning, specifically for the percentage of vaccinated, fully vaccinated among cases, as reported by Public Health Agency of Canada report. That is, how these numbers are reported in this portal. So you see, today they wrote some numbers, and next week they will also write some numbers. And we will just go to those numbers, and I will tell you what those numbers will be next week. Isn't it fun to be able to predict the numbers? So anyone can do it, and I will show you how. And when you can predict the future, then of course you can play bets, you can have jokes, you can invite your friends, family members or neighbors, and just play this game with them. You will ask them the question, what do you think the numbers would be next week? Okay, so I'll show you how you can predict it now. We're clicking on cases following vaccination, and it brings you to the table number 2, which is right here. You see? So it's called characteristics and severe outcomes among unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, fully vaccinated. And to make it simple, we just predict deaths. We predict the numbers which will be published next week. These two numbers combined. So again, you can predict actually anything. You can predict the entire total cases among fully vaccinated and vaccinated with the dose. You see, I'm highlighting those numbers here. I hope you can see it. Or you can predict hospitalizations, which right now, you see, it's 20.3 plus 12.4. Or you could predict deaths. Deaths, of course, is the ultimate metric. So really, it's by the count of deaths that we can say that something is happening in the country. Maybe it's a civil war. Maybe like in Ukraine there is a war and many people are dying. Or maybe something else, maybe like a pandemic, or maybe poisoning, mass poisoning, or maybe mass other kind of killing or suicides or whatever. But this is the final metric of the success of any measure, right? Any measure to save Canadians. All right, so the measure is called number of deaths, right? So last week we had a different number. It was a different number, and we claimed that actually this number will go up. Now I will open now the I made a little PowerPoint presentation here, so hopefully you can see it right here. So this is what we will be predicting the future. We will be predicting the reported number of fully vaccinated among COVID deaths. How we do it? We use this table. This table, it shows you one line per report. You would see in here, the last report was on the 5th of May, right? And last week there was 29.2%. And if you would see the numbers, actually I will put it just closer here so you can see the numbers of deaths, how they were reported from the very first day. So the very first day was when it was in sometime. You see, yeah, they started in August, but this picture shows only from September. And from September, you see, they have, in the beginning, they showed 3%, right? That's where my cursor is. Then 3.7, and as you would see the numbers, look at the numbers. Just make sure that the screen is focused and you can see it. Okay, hopefully you can see it. So the numbers, this number, it goes only up. That's the red column, right? So last week it was actually, okay, I'm looking at the orange. This is for hospitalizations, but at the this pink portion we have for deaths, right? So for deaths, you see it's going up from 3 to 30. So really, there is no magic here. So when I say I know what's gonna be published next week, it's not because I'm just a magician. No, I just look at the numbers and I can tell you that next week it will be most likely already more than 31%. Again, I'm looking at this number. It will be more than 31%. So again, how we do it? Let's review again this table here. So this is the table. That's the table here. So look or write down these numbers, or just open the spreadsheet which we have created and linked, and all these numbers are published in the spreadsheet, and you can see all these numbers right here. So the blue portion is exactly the numbers as they are published in the report. So I just highlighted them right now, you see. And then I started actually putting predictions here. So prediction is for I can predict for the months, actually 1 month ahead of us. Because currently they are presenting data for the 17th of April, but I can tell you what the numbers will be for the 15th of May. So my prediction is that for the 15th of May, it will be 34%. I hope you can see it on the screen. So you see, very easy. How I do it? I'll just show you. I made this little graph here. Look, reported percentages can go only up and only up until it reaches weekly observed percentage. So because in the beginning they were counting cases before they were fully vaccinated, and that's why they had practically very close to 1%, very small percentage of fully vaccinated among deaths, because most deaths happened last winter when they were not fully vaccinated. So you can see this asymptotic. It just straight line. And what is interesting, the prediction is extremely precise. We now put this what is called R-square metric, which is a metric which shows you how accurate is the prediction. We're using what is called linear regression. So linear regression, it just fits a line through the points which have been reported. And this line fits with over 95% accuracy. You see, normally when you're doing bets for hockey, for sports games, for any market shares, like financing prediction, more than even 75% is huge, and people can make lots of money when you know you're predicting with 75% accuracy. What we're talking here, we're talking about 95%, more than 95% accuracy for the prediction of deaths, right? So that's why we just need to build this straight line right here. And it would go until essentially it reaches weekly numbers, which we compute easily just by subtracting those two rows in a column, or in a table. So here we see two columns, two rows, and you just need to subtract one from another, and that's how you get weekly, deaths in the reported week. So we have only 29 of unvaccinated, for example, in the last week, and we have 182. Oh my goodness, this number is really getting quite crazy here. It's total fully vaccinated, and vaccinated with the booster, it's 126, right? And then you can, of course, take it the percentage. So the total number of deaths is 215 for the entire Canada population. And this brings us to 85% of people who died of COVID or with COVID. 85% of them, they were fully vaccinated, you see. Again, it's not a joke, it's not misinformation, it's not trying to scare you away. This is just official data published in this official report. I just show you the same numbers, but paste it in a spreadsheet. So we have several friends of mine who are actually typing those numbers and then checking that all formulas are correct. Isn't it beautiful, right? So that's how you can predict it. Again, I invite everyone to talk. In particular, please talk to your members of parliament, in particular provincial parliament. Right now we have provincial elections are coming in a month from now. So if you're not sure which candidate to vote, just ask them, would you like to bet with me for the number of deaths among fully vaccinated? And if they are hesitant or if they don't want to discuss it, then there's something really, really strange. Because it should be just a lot of fun to play this game. Tell them, I will tell you exactly the number which will be printed in this report. It will be not 31 or 30.2. Next week it will be 31%. In a month from now it will be 34%. So we do want to get a new government which will look into the data, which will look into the science, which will not shy from discussing these numbers. Whatever these numbers are, they're going up, and we must talk about those numbers. The very fact that these numbers are not ever mentioned on our mainstream media like CBC, you will never hear that these numbers are going up. And again, only up. They never slowed down. They never even were just on the same level. As you remember, this graph is going only up with every week. So when you're talking about a new government, please vote for those who are brave to face the reality, who are brave to just quote official data. And again, we know it will continue rising until it reaches weekly numbers. Now, the weekly numbers, we have all those graphs here. You can compute weekly graphs anytime, for any period. And you see they already pretty much reached asymptotic. So the red bar is the percentage of deaths among fully vaccinated. And it's higher than percentage of the full vaccination rate. If you want to play with those graphs in interactive way, then you should go to the portal. That's our main portal, remember, ivim.ca, and these graphs are interactive there. So you could actually put a cursor there, and you see it shows you the actual numbers there. And you can see the numbers. You can see now the dash line. It's a third dose vaccination rate. Anyway, that's life. That's life. That's what we have now in Canada. And Canada remains to be the only country which does not allow people who look into these numbers and who are concerned and who don't want to get another booster or another dose. They don't allow those people even to get together to protest, or they make it very difficult to protest, and they don't allow them to use planes, they don't allow them to leave the country. This is very interesting. There is no reason, scientific reason for that. And of course, we have not talked yet about the adverse reactions. And this is another part of today's presentation, because you can also predict that as well. This is Predicting Future Part 2, Reported Severe Vaccine Side Effects. Now, in this graph, you would see the green line, this is what is reported. And the yellow line is the one which we're predicting. Again, let's go to the website so you could actually see. I hover with the mouse, and it would show me the number of predicted number of severe events for May, for example, for May. What is it? No, it's not for March. For March, so they have reported. They reported, let's say about 200, but anyway, it will be about twice as many just in 3 months from now, because there is a delay. There is a delay. It takes about 3-4 months to report many of these. Now you see also we have in different color, we have severe reports for children. For children from 5 to 11. I hope, or actually let me put it, okay, sorry, I'll make it bigger. I will just move I'll move the screen a little bit. Okay, so you see that in April, for the week of April, it's bi-weekly report now, we have 11 children who have serious side effects. And these side effects are listed right here. You can look into them. This is not something you would wish to your enemies, they say, you know, like heart failure or liver, kidney failures or strokes or this severe immune reaction. So 11 just in 1, or actually in 2 weeks, 11 in 2 weeks, children essentially stopped living normally. Now 14 children from 12 to 17 stopped having a happy life. It's only 1 week. And this number, and again we say it will be probably twice as much based on the prediction that it takes 3-4 months to report in many cases these side effects. So that's how many we got just in April, right? But then you can look how many complications from COVID did we had. And we have a graph right here. This is weekly number of COVID cases deceased by age group. And you would see actually children from 0 to 9. 0, we don't have any. Now for under 40, we do have some. But again, look, like 2, 2, 2. And we already discussed the phenomenon called COVID deaths. There is not such a thing as COVID deaths formally. Formally, it's called COVID cases deceased. So a person with the COVID, when he is deceased or she is deceased, it will report it as COVID cases deceased. So right now we know that Omicron, for example, is much less dangerous, it has less fatalities compared to Delta. And we can look into that, by the way. So this is another graph which shows you COVID cases deceased now by vaccination status, and the blue line is total, right? So you see we had a peak. When do we have the peak here? Let's see. It's okay. It's January. So we had a January here, but it started from September. So we had a little peak here, and but we don't have many COVID deaths from Omicron. All right. Okay. So that's what we have for this week. Now, I'm just quickly checking if there are any questions here. So these are our main two updates on how you can predict the future. You can predict reported fully vaccinated among COVID deaths, and you can predict reported severe vaccine side effects. Now, one more thing which I wanted really to talk a little bit is the fact that severe vaccine side effects, or any side effects, we don't actually see the actual number of side effects. What we see here are reports. That's actually what they say. They call it reports. Look, this bi-weekly series report. Now, not all side effects have been reported because it's difficult to report them. Doctors may not have time to report it, and in fact, by law, they need to report only serious side effects. They don't need to report non-serious side effects. You know, non-serious is like, okay, you're bleeding. If for many females, we know some, there was some complications or side effects related to female issues like bleeding, or we had some other things like arthritis things. Okay, you can continue living with arthritis. Yes, it hurts. You cannot hold your mouse anymore, but it's not serious. So doctors don't need to file it, but we can show you how you can file it yourself. This is very important. So it's right here, report side effects. On our main site, we have this page, report side effects. And it would open a page where it will show you step by step how you can submit voluntary side effect via Health Canada portal. What is very interesting, that this is official Government of Canada portal. And again, you can click on it. I'm clicking on it right now. But you will not be able to find it through Google. We spent with friends, we built this portal back in January. And even we had some training for our colleagues in the agency where I work, that we tried to locate this page just by Google. And it's very difficult. Eventually, if you try hard, you will be able to find it. But luckily, we had some friends who worked at Health Canada, and they just provided us with the exact link. And this is how you can do it. Even more, we have provided you example. Like example, if you click here on example, it's an example of a form which shows you what exactly you need to write here. Because there are some portions there which you may not know how to write. And again, the explanation is right here. Step 2, you submit this form, and you need in section B, which is called patient ID. You just need to write your initials, because it's not very clear. They do not provide instructions right here, because they just say mandatory field in the form, and somewhere here it says patient ID for healthcare providers. Look, right? So, and you do not know what is your patient ID, really, how would you know? And it's strange that our doctors do not tell us that you, a patient, can submit your side effect yourself. Now, when you do it, you will get email from them confirming that they have received your form. Now, another thing is that when you submit it, and if this button doesn't click, at the bottom there is a button submit. Sometimes it does not work. You may call the number and you may ask for help. Like the number is right here. It's on their website. And they will call you back. And in fact, when they call you back, the first thing they will tell you is thank you for doing this. It's because of efforts, people like yourself, that we can improve the description of the product, we can improve the safety. So they openly encourage everyone to do this. And again, you would receive later email from Canada Vigilance program. And just make sure it's not put in your spam. And you will need to reply back to this email. Essentially, they may ask for additional documentation confirming that you have some side effects. You see? So this is how you can report side effects. Again, it's right on the ivim.ca website here. Okay, so that's what we wanted to also to highlight that, and please just share it. There is nothing illegal here. This should be, in fact, this should be welcomed. They should be encouraged, that people can make use and benefit from these facilities. This portal developed by Government of Canada for reporting side effects, for making informed decisions when it relates to safety and efficacy of vaccines is all available. So this should be, of course, encouraged, that we should share it with our, again, MPs and neighbors and everyone. Okay, so that pretty much was the topic for today. Let me just quickly check if there are any questions. Here, there was a question, I remember last time, from last discussion. Last week we discussed excess deaths. So while there are no questions, let me just go back to question which we received last time. Remember, last time we showed you statistics on total deaths per week. So these are the curves we built using the app. The app is linked, again, it's right here, Death Tracker app, it's called. But the best way is just to look at the images in this folder in here. I will open it right here. What you would see, that it's huge jump in excess deaths in New Brunswick, large jump in Alberta, British Columbia, in other Atlantic provinces. It's larger than, let's say, in British Columbia and Alberta, than what we have now is larger than what we had last year when we had COVID, you know, when COVID really was killing many people, unfortunately, right? And in Ontario, the same, you see. So people were asking, what is the age of this? Like, who are these people who are dying so in such big numbers now? And for that, we need to go to these images in here, in this called images for other age groups. Click here. We click here, and there you would see a collection. So you could see all excess deaths. I'm clicking right now. And you see that for New Brunswick, for example, you see they used to have normally about 150 deaths. It's a blue line. Blue line, it's a historical 2-year average before pandemic. And now after vaccination, so the thin line shows you it's the first, actually it's January the 1st, so at the beginning of vaccination. And the thick line is May 1st. That's when vaccination has been extended to general public. So you see how numbers are going up. Now this is for all age group. Now you can go and look just one group at a time. Look first at 85 years and plus. What do we see? New Brunswick or any other, let's say for Alberta. I'm just showing you right now several provinces at the same time. Alberta, British Columbia. Like in British Columbia, we see some excess deaths here as well, right? We see in Alberta, we see in New Brunswick. Now, again, this line going down, people were asking why deaths go down. No, they don't go down. They just put zeros. When data is not available, some provinces, when data is not available yet, they just put zeros, and that's why it brings the curve down. Because we also would take the average of 3 weeks. Just to smooth the data, we use the average of 3 weeks in plotting. So that's what we see in other provinces. In Ontario, maybe not as much. Now you can look in age 65. From 65, okay, from 65, yeah, you see, okay, 65 has excess deaths for New Brunswick and in Alberta and British Columbia. Now, Canada is combined, so in Canada it's slightly more than last year before vaccination. What else we have here? 45-64. We see, okay, slightly more, right? So actually for all ages is high. And but the most startling difference is, of course, for younger, less than 44, because it's only for this population you see that they didn't have excess mortalities before vaccination has started. Because again, as we know, COVID does not result in many deaths among young individuals. It kills, unfortunately, elder population, and we know that the average age of people who die of COVID is 82 years of age, which is the same as average life expectancy. That's according to British official data. So here are again very, very descriptive graphs here. Make use of this data. The very fact that we are not talking about these people who got killed or died is very disturbing. Imagine there is a killer on the road who killed just one child or one person, just one. How much, there would be news all over the country. A child or person, young person, healthy otherwise, just got shot on this by someone. And this would be making huge deaths. Or huge major news. They will be talking about this all the time. Now we have 20 every week. Very importantly, every week we have extra 20, or let's make it more precise. Let's say 10. Just comparing to historical average in New Brunswick. And it's like every week we have 10 children, youth, whoever young under 44 are being essentially killed, right? And they're not talking about this. Again, we don't know what is happening there, and no one talks about it. And our main means our radio, our government. Now, you could watch, there are many debates in the parliament. Conservatives are doing their best to talk about this. Like they're talking about why Canada is the only country which still does not allow unvaccinated to travel, which still is not allowing unvaccinated to go back, to return to work, which puts those people under extreme danger of mental and physiological distress. You can imagine living without income and not being able even to leave the country. Why our government is doing that? So conservatives are very vocal about this. They are asking our now majority NDP Liberal government, please respond to us when you're going to allow affected individuals to come back to work. And what our government is saying, we are waiting for the decision from our top experts. We are looking at the science. But have you actually ever seen them showing any numbers? Their main statement is, we are listening to our top experts. But again, did they ever show any number, any graphs? This is unbelievable. This is what we live right now in Canada. And it's unbelievable what Canada has become here. So I have no more comments. I'm going now to go for a swim on our lovely pond to meet my friends. We're meeting there at 1:30. The water is still cold, which is nice because we love cold water. It stimulates your parasympathetic system. It helps to heal, to relax your system. And of course, many of us do need some healing, natural healing, to deal with all this stress which is brought on us by what our governments are doing to us. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll get back to live event on Wednesday and Friday because there is so much data that we will just split it in 2 days. Have a good day everyone. Don't hesitate to ask any questions.